Hey,
Okay.
total pleasure to meet you, man. I'm so happy to get together with you for.
Oh,
We're good.
uh-oh.
Got it. Hang on.
There we are.
Hi, I'm Kelly.
Hi, how are you?
Where are you?
Maine, very close to Bar Harbor.
Oh,
Yeah,
Rozier.
you are in Nashville, right? These days.
Yes, I am. Yes. I'm gonna shut the door here. I'm in my isolation booth.
I'm going to do the same thing. Hold on, so we can have total peace and quiet. You know, I've been listening to your music since the mid 1990s, and it only seems like yesterday that I discovered it and got really taken in by your first couple of records.
Thank you.
I was looking for a Led Zeppelin album the other day, but I've given away all my CDs like 3-4 years ago because I've gone totally, streaming.
Mm-hmm.
But I kept only like 40 or 50 CDs. I was looking for this particular Led Zeppelin disc, and I didn't find it. But I kept those 40 or 50 because those are the ones that mean a lot to me, and those are also the ones that are beautifully recorded. And guess what I found?
Uh-oh. Oh.
So I kept those. That's good, right?
Wow. Made the cut. Top 40.
You certainly did. You certainly did. I'm going to switch to a document here because I got so many notes on you, so many things I am dying to ask you. All right. Do you prefer to be called Kevin or Keb?
I'll answer to both, depending on the situation.
All right.
If it's a situation you need Keb, I'll be Keb. If you need Kevin, I'll be Kevin.
Keb is probably the easiest for me because that's how I think of you and have thought of you all these years. I just didn't want to get too familiar too early on, but okay. Hey, so tell me a little bit about the new album. Let's start there. You had this is your 15th or 16th studio album. Have you kept track?
Maybe I haven't kept track really. Yeah, but it's a lot of them. Yeah, yeah. Have you heard the album already?
Of course, yeah, many times, many times. In fact, I don't know if you heard it, but I just turned it off. I was playing the final track, "Quiet Moments" with Christian Shepherd.
Okay.
Beautiful, man. Well done. That's a gorgeous
thank you.
track. How did you and her get together? Because I had she had never really registered with me. I knew she was an actress, but it turns out she's a very, very accomplished recording artist as well and stage artist, right? How did you guys?
Yeah. Well, I the way this happened was, I got a call to do a guest appearance on her new Christmas album. And while I was doing that, I went over there and we clicked. It was really good. She's really fun. She's a total pro. She's amazing.
Nice.
I asked her, was there any chance in hell, that she would do a little blurb on this? I got this one song, which is "Quiet Moments," you heard, which she considered singing on it.
Uh-huh.
And she said, yeah. And then I didn't hear from her for a while, and and then she said, what happened to that album the song I was supposed to sing on of yours, So, oh yeah. So, 'cause I didn't want to bug her, about it. But she.
Go ahead.
So she did it and brought a little class to the song.
Did you write that song as a duet? Did you know it was going to have to be sung by two people?
No, it didn't have to be sung by two people. It's just it works as a duet. But that song was written in 1977, I believe.
You wrote it though, right?
I wrote it with a guy named David Oliver in 1977.
Wow.
And it's never been recorded.
What took you so long? Why did you dust it off?
Well, I was talking to him, and over the years, he's a good friend. I was talking with him, and he says, and he just got married, and he said, man, it would be really good if you, recorded that, just recorded that, as a great wedding gift for me, you know what I mean? And I said, okay, I'll do better. I'll put it on my record.
Nice.
Because the thing is that it held up. I never forgot the words to it. You know what I mean? I always could just play it off. It never went away. The melody and the song, I think it's just a solid piece of work. And doing it years later, I realized why it never got recorded was that him and I, we didn't have the chops to record it. You know, we really didn't have the know-how to pull it off. You know, so I went back in, I did some tweaking of the melody, tweaked the chord voicings and the chord just a little bit, you know, and I really got in there. And when we got down to recording, I realized it's just a whole other genre of music that I had never really kind of stepped into.
Yeah.
You know, and it was very straight singing, and every note of the melody was important to be the right note, or the note that really spoke them. So it was really, I had to, and it took a while to even get the guitar part right. And even though the song had been written, and not with much change since 1977, just a little word here and there, it started to work. You know, but I just realized if I had recorded that song in the 1980s or something like that, I'd have totally botched it.
Well, how come? Because you wrote it when you were 26, 27, something like that, right?
Yeah.
You were already in the music industry. What would have prevented you from recording it at the time if you had wanted to?
I didn't know how to record that song. I didn't have the musical, I just didn't have what it took to really do the song justice. I think now, finally, after all this time, you know, I think it's done justice, especially when Kristen Chenoweth came in and sung on it. It was like, okay, you know, it all came together. Yeah. And the right string arranger is just a guitar and a bass and a string section, you know, and I think there's we had about 16 string players in there. And
nice.
It just worked, you know.
How did the string arrangement come about? Did you write it?
No, I didn't write the string arrangements. I have a gentleman named Lyndall Black who does my string arrangements. He did both string arrangements on that one and also a Marvelous to Me.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Nice. All right. Keb, how did you get through the pandemic? Tell me about your last year and a half.
Well, it started like this. It started in 2020, as you know, when we got the word around March that there was a pandemic. There was this bug going around that was pretty serious.
Yeah.
And gigs started getting canceled. And while the gigs were getting canceled, I was kind of feeling relieved. You know, and at that time the word was like, well, it'll be over. It's going to take about 4 to 6 months to really for this to be over. Yeah. And it didn't take 4 to 6 months. It just started getting worse and worse. Yeah. So then after about a couple of months when we saw it was getting, I looked at my wife and said, okay, how long? We looked at the bank and said, how long can we go without working? So just plotted that out. And then I said, okay, good. And then I started looking at different things. Things start coming in like virtual gigs and stuff. And I got a TV show to work on, you know, Be Positive on CBS.
Oh, nice.
You know, Chuck and Lawrence. So I co-wrote the theme song for that. And I'm doing the musical cues for that, in and out of each separate episode. So cool. I got a little gig to playing money. And I did a few weeks of touring out there when things kind of got better. So it all kind of worked. I mean, it all kind of, and, you know, I don't know how it worked. And I got way closer with my family. Just, you know, I just so enjoyed being with my 14-year-old son. And last holiday season, we went out to the West Coast for Thanksgiving, and we just stayed. Yeah. We just stayed through the New Year the whole time.
Why did you say you felt relief when the pandemic hit? As in, because you didn't want to, you felt like...
I was kind of burnt out.
Really?
And didn't know it.
From touring? You know?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I was a little burnt out.
Yeah.
And when they said I have to go, I was like, wow. So all of a sudden I felt like I was on vacation. Now I can have a holiday. Now I can really be at home. And, you know, it was really, and when I first heard that, I don't think I touched the guitar for about 2 weeks. I just kind of just started relaxing, and I thought to myself, this could be the end. Maybe this is over. Maybe this is the bubonic plague or something. Maybe music as we know it is gone. And so I just, like I thought the worst.
Was the new album already in the works when, like, by March of last year, or was it partly the outcropping or the?
There were some songs still already going. Yeah, there were some songs already going. So Easy was a work in progress, and a lot of these songs, like a lot of them didn't exist. Yeah. Louder was already, I think I already had Louder. And I remember when we wrote Good Strong Woman, there was a confusion as to whether we were going to like do it by Zoom or do it in person.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the two guys I wrote with knocked on the door. It was confusion. And so we just did it anyway. We just did it at the house.
Is it possible to record by Zoom? But that's not what you mean, right? Like you can.
No, we were the writing. We did the writing session in the room.
Yeah.
And then we did another one. We did 62 Chevy. We went out. I went down on Music Row, and we got in a pretty big room, and we kind of wrote socially distanced. And so Marvelous to Me, John Lewis Parker, who I write a lot of songs with. He also has a couple of songs we wrote together on this one. He sent me a piano track, and that he had put together very meticulously, and I wrote the lyrics to that piano part, and that became Marvelous to Me, which was right in the middle of the whole George Floyd and Black Lives Matter and that stuff is going on there, And so that song is about optimism, and just, that's probably my favorite song, Marvelous to Me.
Beautiful.
And it's Good to Me, Good to Be was written over the Christmas holidays last year. And Sunny and Warm, a gentleman moved in my neighborhood. He's a pretty accomplished songwriter. His name is Steve Dorff. And I was out for a walk, in the neighborhood. And this guy pulls up beside us. He says, "Hey, man, I'm Steve Dorff. I just moved here from L.A. I saw you walking out. I said, you want to write some songs?" So I went over here. I see there's a block away around the corner. So we wrote Sunny and Warm and Like Love,
Nice.
And when Bill Withers passed, I thought like, well, I'm going to record Lean on Me, and just do the unthinkable. So I started on it, and I didn't mean for it to be on the album. I just started playing a version of it with my guitar, and it ended up on the album. So all these songs are, they did. I mean, you asked the question, did they come out of the pandemic? And I have to say that most of them then, I remember going over to write with Steve Dorff for Sunny and Warm, and the pandemic was already on, and, I was, we had to be careful, so. Yeah.
When you find collaborators, and there have been so many and so many big names like Taj Mahal, Bonnie Raitt, Old Crow Medicine Show, Marcus Miller even, I didn't know about that until I really started delving into it, India Arie, Roseanne Cash. How does any of that come together? Do they reach out to you or vice versa, or what? Do you run into them on the road, or?
Well, it depends. Let's start with like Marcus Miller,
Yeah.
Who also played on So Easy. He played the bass on So Easy on this record too.
Yeah.
When I lived in Santa Monica, California, Marcus moved his studio across the street from me. I lived I was living in a guest house, and the house was on Colorado Boulevard.
Yeah.
And there was a kind of little like off space where like little spaces, you could rent, And Marcus moved over and I saw him. So I saw him over there. And I went over there and knocked on the door. Huh?
Did you know who he was?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I went over there and knocked on the door and said, hey, man, and introduced myself. So that was cool. And we ended up doing a couple of gigs together with Herbie Hancock. So I got to know him. And later he called me, asked me, did I want to write? And so that's when we wrote Milky Way.
Yeah.
Nice. And that was, I think we were still in the early 2000s. Yeah, we were in the early 2000s and wrote Milky Way. And that's how that happened. India Arie, we share the same birthday, so we have kind of like a thing of October 3rd. And this song that we sung together is called Crush on You. And it's a song written by Kevin So. I didn't have anything to do with the writing of that song, but he played it for me one time. I was at a show and he played it. I said, man, that song, what are you doing with that? He had recorded it. And so I asked him, okay, well, would you mind if I took a crack at it? So I recorded as well. And I called India and I sent it to her and asked her would she sing a verse. And she did. So she sung a verse and sent it back. And that's how that one happened. Roseanne Cash, when John Parker, the same guy wrote Marvelous to Me with, we were writing Put a Woman in Charge. And we were over here and I said, man, we can't write this song without a woman helping us write this song, There's two guys writing Putting a Woman in Charge and trying to be a woman empowerment and not have a woman writer on there. So I called Beth Nielsen Chapman and she happened to be home and she very rarely, she's always very busy. She was home. She came right over and helped us finish that song. And then, I needed cause that was a single. It wasn't like attached to a record or anything. It's his own thing. And because it was election time and I guess, there's all these female candidates for president, so I just wanted to kind of, write things and like that. So anyway, I called my friend Ed Zimmerman, who's an attorney in New York. I said, he's a wine and music aficionado. I said, I'm looking for someone to sing on this Put a Woman in Charge. And I have no idea. I need him kind of quick, but I don't know who to call. And I sent him the song and he said, how about Roseanne Cash, who I never would have thought of to sing on it. I said, yeah, perfect. And I sent it to her and she sent the vocal back while she was on it. And it just worked perfectly. Cause when she came in, that's one of my favorite things when she came in, because the whole thing's going jonga 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 jonga, the big jungle thing, right? And she comes in with this just being herself, and it just blew my mind. I just loved the way that worked. And then they're putting the gospel singers in the background and on the vamp, and it was just perfect. So that was kind of like all these things are kind of like divine intervention. They're like all, perfect. What other names did you mention there? There was another name.
You mentioned Darius Rucker, for instance?
Darius Rucker. Okay, I was sitting in the room. I had already recorded Good Strong Woman, and I was just kind of messing with the mix. I think I might have been putting an acoustic guitar part down. And this woman that works with me, named Lee Brandon, she says, I just, in passing, I said, it'd be really cool if Darius Rucker sung the second verse on this. And I said, and I wasn't at all saying, ask him. So unbeknownst to me, she didn't ask me. She went out and found Darius's manager and asked, and he said, yeah.
All right.
So he sung the second verse, and it was like, wow, it was like the perfect thing, just the perfect thing to do. And let's see, other ones like Body Rape. Back when that was on my second record, and I got really to know Body Rape pretty good. She had came out to some gigs at Harvell's places. I was gigging, in the LA. And Jackson Brown I had met a couple of years earlier through my friend Kevin McCormick, who was his bass player for a while, and I met Jackson. And Jackson was, and they're like, now these are people who I've, idolized in the past, and I'm going like, wow, Jackson, I'd was hanging with them, and I asked them to sing on this song, Just Like You. And the premise was that, who also wrote with John Lewis Parker, was that this song was written about the atmosphere around the OJ trials. So I'm been told never say that in public. But it wasn't written about OJ. It was written about the social climate around the trial and what was going on with people.
Yeah.
And the racism and this other kind of racism that we hadn't seen, like, where, and affluent black men all of a sudden had powerful lawyers to, to possibly have, I wasn't there, but, get off on this crime that he's supposedly, So there was this thing, the black community felt like he didn't do it because why would you do that? We're used to getting shot, by, for looking funny,
Yeah.
And so now you got this former pro football player, celebrity, that's accused of murder. And a lot of us will kind of refuse to believe that could, why would O.J. Simpson kill his wife? That don't make any sense. So there was all this stuff, and there was like a racial divide, and that's why the song, like, hello, my friend, it's been a while, all our clothes are back in style, here we are again, and, we went our separate ways only to return, to learn, to see the lesson we failed to learn, something like that, and so, so this cycle of life, just like it's about the cycle of trouble and the cycle of, problems in your life, you think you've solved one, and then it pops up later. It's the same problem, but it's got a different slant on it.
Yeah.
But they keep coming up because the clock goes like this, keeps going round and round, and not a straight line. It's a circle.
Yeah.
So just like you, it's like, okay, here we are again. And so it had a lot of other meanings to other people. That's why people use it at their, like, special occasions in their life, because that's kind of is what it is, I feel just like you, and, I'm just like you. We're all the same, and life is beautiful.
Yeah.
So
there's always, if there is a message in your songs, and most of them, I guess, maybe there isn't, but when there is, it's always very kind and positive, and sort of like this, people all over the world join hands, start a love train, that kind of thing, right?
Yeah, that's Whitehead and McFadden. No, that's one. That was the other guys. Whitehead and McFadden, they're on there.
It's OJ's song, right?
OJ's, yeah, but the writers were the producers, the guys from the International.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was, Love Train. Yeah, but that was a suggestion from Kevin McCormick, who introduced me to Jackson years ago. When it got down to like 2000, he produced that children's record on me, and I let him I had him suggest songs and just said, just produce it, and I'll just do what you say, I had a couple of songs there, and he found covers. He said, do OJ's, and I was frightened to death. I can't do an OJ song. That's sacrilegic, So he, so I just put the banjo on it and let it rip,
Nice.
OJ, but yeah, I wanted to have that feeling, and he had me do a Stevie Wonder song, which is also something I don't sing, especially if you can't sing like me. I'm not a great singer, and so dare I sing a Stevie Wonder song, and so that he actually taught me how to like look at a song, not at the singer, but look at the song. And later on, I recorded a Donny Hathaway song on another cover record I did called, Someday We'll All Be Free.
Yeah.
which is like, you don't cover Donny Hathaway and you sing. But from him, I learned that, you don't have to be, if it's a great song, sing the song, and it'll come off, just say the words, the great words, great melody, it'll work.
I mean, you have to primarily bring sincerity to it, right? I never thought
Right.
he was not a great singer. That kind of blew my mind when you just said that a minute ago. How are you not a great singer?
Well, I was raised up in the Baptist church, and I saw great, I saw great singers. There was nothing but great singers around.
Right.
And I have like what they call the voice of the people. It's like a voice, like a Dylan or a Springsteen voice, or a Gil Scott-Heron voice. It's not a it's not a Michael Bublé voice.
I see.
You know what I mean? It's just a guy singing.
Yeah.
And I'm comfortable with that.
You should be. That's what lots of us like that. We don't want to listen to. Actually, I kind of like Michael Bolton every once in a while, but Michael Bublé, that's just, I'm not. A lot of us are not in it for the technical aspect of it, but we're in it for what comes through the heart, right? And that really works.
Yeah. Yes, and I've kind of known that for a long time, But and sometimes a great singer can be tiring at a show, you know what I mean? Because it's all these big moments all the time and big high notes, big like the singing becomes the thing rather than these songs.
Yeah.
Some people like singing, some people like songs.
Yeah.
I like songs, and I like singing, But if I go to a show and at church, when I came up, a singer wouldn't sing the whole church service. You'd sing one song and get the crowd, then the preacher would come preaching and like that. So in that context, it worked because that was one song. Or like, you're going to sing on American Idol, you're going to sing a song on The Voice. You got to come out and that one song is your whole concert.
Yeah.
That sums up who you are. But like to do that 15 times in a night, or 20 times.
Yeah.
It's like it gets old.
Yeah. I had my mind blown a couple of times when I was looking into your background and learning more about you than I already did. One of those moments was learning that you had played with Papa John Creech and then had collaborated on a song for a Jefferson Starship album. And I just would have never associated you and Jefferson Starship. So that was an interesting thing to learn. But it gets better because then 15 minutes after that, I was like, what? How can that be true? My mom was a big fan in the 70s of this German singer called Peter Maffay. So Peter Maffay had an incredible hit in Europe that must have made him like $100 million or something, called Du, which means you, right? And I still remember all the words to that stupid song. Not a stupid song, but I'll remember all the songs to that.
Oh man, Peter Maffay, you really dug it.
Maffay for real? Keb Mo and Peter Maffay. I wouldn't have guessed that. How did that come together?
He called me.
Really?
Yeah, I was in New Orleans at the time. He called me. He came by my house in New Orleans. I got a picture of him sitting on the porch with me. He just came out and he went around the world looking because Sonny Landreth was on that record too. So he came out to talk to me, and he talked to Sonny Landreth, who lives up the road in Lafayette.
Yeah.
Then he went down to Australia to talk to like Yotu Yendi, and so that Begegnungen album that he made, he went around, he went to Israel and found all these artists, and it was a pretty cool record. Lokwa Kanza from the Congo was doing in Paris. So he went around the world and actually asked everyone to do this tour with him. And I did this tour. That tour, it was a blast. About a month and a half going through Germany and Switzerland and Romania, really cool.
Wow. Had you ever heard of him? I mean, he wasn't
nope.
In the United States, right?
Never heard of him.
Why was
a lot of people don't? Huh?
Why did he come to was that sort of like a pilgrimage for him to visit the people that he really admired, or what was going on?
Yeah, he wanted to work with people that he really admired, and he found some artists from all over the world. He put it together, and because he's huge in Germany and a couple of times, but nowhere else. You know,
Yeah, that's right.
he's the Bruce Springsteen of Germany.
Was it really fun to play with him, or is it more was it more of these things where? Because this is what I imagined, and I guess I'm completely wrong, but there were these A-list American actors like Robert De Niro or Leonardo DiCaprio, and they get paid like a huge sum of money to appear in a commercial in Japan that nobody in America will ever see, so they don't really care about it, even if it's a bad commercial. It wasn't one of those situations with you and Peter Maffay, though.
No.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, you know, I like to go. I like to experience things, you know.
Sure.
And that was I look at that. If it came to me, I always look at it. If it came to me, it must be divine. Because I think there's a kind of there's people that pick and choose, kind of go, well, that's not a good opportunity. That's not this and that, like whatever.
Yeah.
If it found its way to me, it must be for me. And usually I trust the fact that if it showed up, it's good and there's something good in it.
All right.
And so I do my best to be very non-judgmental about anything, and just try to find the silver lining, trying to find the why is why. If I get this feeling about, I want to work with that person, I just do it,
Right. Cool.
And it always works.
It always works. That's good. That's good. I'm glad to hear that. How can you possibly be 70 years old? Do you drink the blood of virgins, or what's happening there? You look like you're 55 or something.
I got good lighting today.
I guess so. Off to the lighting guy.
I got my window there, and I got my baseball cap on. And, well, I mean, I'm a pretty good 70. I feel good. I go to the gym, several times a week, and I got a trainer, and I eat good.
Nice.
And I cut out sugar about 6 months ago.
Did you?
And I just, I don't take any pharmaceuticals or things that doctors prescribe. And I just try to keep a good attitude,
Yeah.
And it comes from years of being without any kind of job that would give me any kind of health insurance.
Yeah.
So I knew that I could not get sick, because I had no health insurance. So I ate good. I ate my fiber, and I just exercised and just, stayed there because I didn't want to die.
Maybe not having an actual job, like a 9-to-5 type job, also keeps you healthy. Maybe that's related.
Yeah, because then you start dying a little bit at your job,
Yeah.
And if you have a job you don't love, it's not fueling you. It's not giving you back,
Exactly.
what you need. And I think people that have a job that they love tend to stay youthful. I mean, I was over at I got to visit a Norman Lear's house a few months ago. He's still after it, 99 years old, still after it. It's I like that, but it's like giving away your power, giving away your energy to something that you don't love.
Why?
And I've learned that the mind is very powerful, and that what you put your attention on, whatever it is, positive, negative, good, bad, you're constantly creating your future. You're constantly creating your reality through your thoughts. So there's all this thing, be careful what you ask for, be careful what you think about, because you're constantly creating your own life and your own future and your circumstances with your actions, thought, deeds, and actions.
Yeah.
So, I think you learn a lot of stuff not having a job. You learn how to you learn how to navigate through life without one. Every now and then you got to go get one, But you learn how to navigate through towards your dream without having a job, because the job will take all your energy and you won't have anything left for your dream if you just give it all away.
In your case, what does that mean when you say occasionally you have to go out and get one? What kind of jobs that you do that you maybe didn't really want to, but it was a job?
Well, I would take a shit job. I never would take a good job. If you offered me a good job, I would run the other way.
Yeah.
Because I knew I'd get hooked on the paycheck.
But you're not talking about, I don't know, working in the factory or being a postal delivery guy, or all these jobs are within the music industry, right?
No, messenger.
Oh, really?
Flower deliverer, janitor.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I don't tell him. Yeah. And you know, there's this blues man named Paul DeLay. He died some years ago. It's Paul DeLay, great guy, played harmonica. And he's got this song called $14 in the Bank. He goes, $14 in the bank, 1,500 worth of unpaid bills. That's when you got to get a job, you know.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Because what you need is you need a roof and a phone. You know.
Yeah.
A roof to keep warm and keep the weather off you, and a phone to receive a call in case somebody wants you to work.
Yeah. And a smartphone in case you want to meet cute girls and maybe your future wife, right? Because
nowadays you have to have that. In today's dating world, I'd be dead in the water.
But I'm referring to, I heard that you had walked into a telephone store and somebody helped you and you know, then you got to talking and now that she's your wife, right? Is that?
That's my wife, yeah.
Cool. So that couldn't have happened a long time ago. I was thinking about trying to place that. Like what?
That happened in 2001.
I see. All right. Cool.
Yeah.
20 years married.
No, 15 years.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But 20 years together, yeah.
Oh, that's right. 20 years together, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What happens, Keb, when you walk into a guitar store, an instrument store, musical instrument store?
Oh, I see. I look around and see what they have in there.
Yeah, of course. Do you feel like a kid in a candy store? Is there more that you have to have when you're in there?
Well, I look. I can't pass a music store or a hat store.
Uh-huh.
You know? Now, music store. What I'm looking for in a music store is something unique, something that I'm going to need later, not now. You know.
Or at least that you can tell yourself you'll need later.
No, usually I nail it.
All right, cool. That's good.
Yeah, something I'll have something that I know I'll need later, and or I'll find a place where I just get a feeling about it. You know,
mm-hmm.
Like I have instrument I bought probably 3 years ago, and I wanted one, was an octave mandolin. And now that's the instrument I use on the TV show for the cues, because they always want a unique sound, you know. So that became the sound of the, you know. And I can't tell you, I was sitting around picking it up, banging on it for a couple of years until now it's got a use, nice. You know. And it's different resonator guitars that I'll buy, like, you know, and I'll just buy something and I just know that I'll need it. And then when I go to my locker and I'm going to make a record, I'll pull down some things. I'll just pull down this and that. And it's like wearing clothes. I get that shirt and then I get that guitar, that one. And these will be the core instruments I'll make my record with, you know. Yeah.
How many guitars do you have?
Too many. I don't know. I bought an amplifier last week. I bought a little amplifier and it sounds like crap. When I got it home, I think it really sounds like crap. It's called, it's just looks like a little like Fred Flintstone thing. It's got 2 10-inch speakers and it had this kind of bark to it that I knew at some point it was different, you know? Yeah. It had a different kind of bark than I had. So every record I make, I try to subtly move into the sonic atmosphere to be a little different, even though they might probably sound a lot similar. I don't know, but you know, I'm looking for a few little things that kind of that they move a little bit, they're different and they move along. Um, so, for instance, like the song on Reflection, the Reflection, I had what's it? The Reflection had a lot of, the Reflection was this. When I got to LA, when I got to Nashville, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, yeah, okay. I thought the screen was.
Sorry,
I lost a lot of instruments in the flood when I moved to Nashville. So when that happened, I had about 6 guitars, and those are the records. Those are the guitars I made the Reflection record with. Those are the ones I had.
How many did you lose?
Oh, a bunch of them. It was like good, but the insurance paid for it. It had insurance, and they had a lot of stuff. Had a lot of gear, a lot of cases, road gear, and stuff. And then when I went to Nashville, I just had a space in the house. And that's how I built out the studio with the insurance from the instruments that have been done out. You know what I mean? And so this gave me money to do this. So I got a really nice studio in my house. Not many guitars, but the guitars came back.
One by one, slowly.
Yeah, they came back slowly. And then I got the studio, so now I have a place to work. Unlike what I had in LA, I had a 2-car garage converted into a studio, which was very confining. But I worked and I was managed to get a lot done in there. But this one's I got like a nice live room, a control room, bathroom, green room, parking lot.
Wow. Are you just recording yourself for your own purposes, or are you actually renting out the studio?
No, I don't rent it out. No.
Just for you.
Just for me, yeah.
And the quality is good enough that you can finish an entire album in there?
Yeah.
Right.
I can do my whole. Oh, you can do a record on a laptop now. You don't even need this.
That's true. That's true.
But I can do all my acoustic stuff. I can do drums. I have Hammond organ, Fender Rhodes, Wurlitzer piano, and acoustic piano, grand piano, drums, everything I need to make a record in here. Enough decent ones.
What happened with that 14-piece string section? Was that recorded there?
I did that at Ocean Way.
I see.
I've done an 8-piece section here before.
I see.
And down here, but I did that at Ocean Way. Yeah. Cool. But the rhythm section and everything I do is here. I do horns here, everything.
Nice. Although it also means that you're always there. You can never escape your work. You don't go home at night because
I go upstairs.
Oh, really? There is a kind of separation. I see. Okay.
Yeah, it's just like it's a walkout basement, and I just go upstairs and shut the door, and I'm home.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So I think I read that you grew up in a musical household in Compton. I hadn't realized that. I've never been to Compton, but I always thought, kind of a gritty urban area. I didn't associate that with the blues at all. That's like rock music, right? NWA and those guys. So,
well, yeah, that's what made
up there.
NWA made Compton famous.
Yeah.
But I had long since moved away from Compton when NWA came along.
Uh-huh.
I grew up in Compton from the year 1958 to 1969.
Oh, okay.
As a youngster.
Yeah.
So my formative years were in Compton. And that was during the, by the 70s I was gone.
I see.
But it was basically a community of working class African American and Latino families that we're doing all right. Neat phone, neat little lawns. Lots of kids in the neighborhood. Schools, adequate schools, and a lot of opportunity culturally for a kid to grow and to which a lot of my friends that grew up in Compton, they're doing quite well. you know, they're professors, doctors, and businessmen, CIA people, all kind of came out of that group of people from Compton that I grew up with.
How did the
Huh?
blues how did the blues find you, or how did you find the blues in Compton?
I didn't find the blues in Compton. I found calypso in Compton.
Uh-huh.
I played steel drums in Compton, and I was in the high school band. I played French horn, guitar, French horn, and steel drum. That was my instruments growing up, and all things percussion. Yeah, congas, bongos, all hand percussion, steel. I just recently got a steel drum in there. Now I got a steel drum, like my steel drum back.
Uh-huh.
So Compton was very. That thing about, like, I was talking about earlier about that if it came across, it must be right. I mean, when I moved to the house that my wife and I own in Compton now, which is the house I grew up in, that house, I had just gotten kicked out of the band in 5th grade where I was playing trumpet, and I had no musical outlet, and so when I get there on that block, lo and behold, there's a steel band down the street. And I went over there and started playing with them, learn steel drums and learn all this stuff. I played gigs. That was my part-time job as a kid. And then when I got to high school, because I had been playing trumpet in elementary, the band director let me play French horn because they needed French horn players. No one wanted to play that nerdy ass instrument. So I played the French horn. And that got me in the jazz band as a percussionist, conga player, and playing French horn in the orchestra. And served me well, met friends, and I was in a cover band in my senior year, and the guitar, I became a good enough player to be an entry level cover band guitar player, with some of the guys that were in the band, because they knew I played guitar, but in the band I was a goofy French horn player. So they said, let's have Kevin come in. So I got a guitar. I borrowed an electric guitar because all I had was a raggedy acoustic. I borrowed an electric guitar from my friend Stanley, and I was in the band.
And how did you discover the blues from there?
It took a long time. First stop was after high school. I did 2 years at LA Trade Technical School in a vocational architectural drafting program for young at-risk kids out of the Compton South Central area. And I did that for 2 years, and I almost went to college to be an architect, but I didn't really like being in the office because I had an internship there as well as a job, I was going to school, and I just hated being in an office. I don't know what it was. I think it was the fluorescent lights. I just got a weird feeling that I wasn't supposed to be there. So the first opportunity came was I started playing with this band named Milton James, and that became Zulu. We broke off from him, and then we got discovered by Papa John Creech playing down on Adams Boulevard. He walked by and he hired us as his band. And 3 months later, we were on the road with Papa John Creech.
Very cool.
And that's where I started learning about the blues. Because making that record with Papa John, which was my first record, I met Harmonica Fats and Big Joe Turner. Yeah. And I heard Big Joe Turner sing, and I was like, holy shit. And then I went on the road with Papa John, and I met people I met B.B. King, I met, we played with a lot of people, Albert King, I got to see him play, we did shows with the Average White Band, um, Jesse Colin Young, um, all kind of shows we did. A lot of festivals. I got to see Aretha Franklin perform, Gladys Knight, to the big festival and things. And I was in that guy. I still hadn't woken up to the blues. It took me till I was in my early 30s to wake up to the blues. Mm-hmm. I was kind of like, I had spent all my collateral, I guess you could say, with the pop, and I had already made that record, that Keb Mo record, which you know about that one, right?
1980, but I know nothing about it. I was going to ask you about it.
It's a record called Rainmaker.
Yeah.
Keb Mo.
Yeah.
And I made that record on Casablanca, and that was my big shot, which didn't happen. So that was after Papa John Creech. So from that point, I just kind of went into oblivion, so to speak, and doing odd gigs and little odd jobs, little part-time jobs and things. Yeah. And so during that time, I was working in a place called Cardillo Travel, and I was delivering airline tickets. And I got a call from my friend Spencer. Spencer was moving to Atlanta, and he had this gig at Marla's Memory Lane on Martin Luther King Boulevard. And Marla's Memory Lane was owned by Marla Gibbs of the Jeffersons, the woman on the TV show.
Yeah.
And that was her club. And he said, I got 2 Monday nights. Can you cover them for me till I get back from Atlanta? It's a blues band. I said, okay, I'll cover it. I'll cover. I got you. Don't worry. I went and I covered him for the 2 weeks. He never came back. And that became my gig, playing with Charlie Tuna, who was Charles Dennis, who recently passed and ended up being B.B. King's guitar player until he passed. So his name was Charlie Tuna. I called him Charlie Tuna. So I was mentored by Charlie Tuna in the Who Done It band with Mark Higgins. So basically, Spencer dropped me into a gift that they kept on giving.
Nice. If that happened, do you think that you wouldn't have made it to where you are? Was it?
Absolutely not. I wouldn't have.
Really?
Yeah. Huh. Every single piece gets you a little closer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you can't really go like, well, when did you make it? If you say like, well, it was a turning point. Well, I made it because of this. Well, how'd you get there? It's like, well, how'd you get to New York? Well, I walked a little ways, and I caught a bus a little ways, then I rode a mule a little way. It's just like, there's steps to get everywhere. And in those steps are all these like experiences and things. And after a while, I in life now, I just can see the progression of life and how things pan out. And I trust it so much because in hindsight, when I look back and look at how everything was just like perfectly laid out. It's like it made my favorite film to be The Yellow Brick Road. I mean, Wizard of Oz, you know?
Yeah.
Because, when the good witch says, how do I get to Emerald City? It's the good witch says, follow the yellow brick road. Where do I find the yellow brick road? You're standing on it.
Nice. That's deeper than I ever thought of that movie, but that's actually really good. I like that.
Yes, the yellow brick road. What is the yellow brick road? Well, maybe it's not a yellow brick road, but you're standing on it.
Yeah.
So when I look back, and I'm always analyzing things. So I'm kind of like that. Look, why did that happen? Why is this? Whatever. And
so in the same vein, Cap, was it okay that the Rainmaker album just went nowhere?
It had to happen.
Good?
That had to happen. It went nowhere because I started listening to other people around me rather than listening to myself.
Yeah.
That's why. Anyway, and also I had some serious vocal trouble, and so right when I had vocal trouble, I had to go on voice rest and get an operation. I get a record deal.
Mm.
So I was pretty weak during that time. If you listen to the record, my voice was pretty weak. But I had some okay songs, and I got a good opportunity there. They gave me a decent budget, and it just flopped, you know.
Yeah.
And so, and I had to like get over that. That took me about from 1981 to 92 to get over that. It took me 10 years to get over it. You know, it hurt me so bad, you know. So
Did you not play in that time or not much?
yeah, I played a little bit, but I'd given up on a musical career and stuff. I just did what came along.
Oh.
And, I mean, I did some gigs. I played with, Taste of Honey, you know, a group called Taste of Honey, Boogie Oogie. I played with them. I went on the road with them. I played with, Cuba Gooding Sr. Jr.'s dad, Cuba Gooding. I played with Denise Williams, you know, for a while. And the gigs that came about. And I had different gigs, but in between that was a lot of odd jobs and things. I was a handyman for a while,
Wow.
you know, working as an apprentice handyman, so to speak, you know. And, but all these things, you know, led me right to that Whodunit Band gig at Marla's Memory Lane. And that's when I got a chance to be around some real blues folks.
Yeah.
And really, to really bear witness to the power of the blues. Because a lot of times in the African American community, you know, the blues is like looked at as like old and worn out, kind of something that's, you know, that nobody cares about. Because I was looking for something new. But these guys that I was around, they were the ones that like said, no, 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 no. This is good stuff here.
Yeah.
This is where you're gonna find your mojo, buddy. You know, and there wasn't many of those people around in LA. You know, but I happened to land in the lap of the people that knew. Like, you know,
Yeah.
Monkey was from Chicago, and Charlie Turner was from Houston, Texas. So I had Texas and Chicago in my ear playing. You know what I mean? Playing me stuff, and I had everybody from, you know, Pee Wee Creighton, Albert Collins would come in, and let's say Mary Clayton, yeah, Billy Preston would come in there, and
Oh, wow.
Big Joe Turner would come in there sometimes, and so I got to actually like perform with these different people coming sitting in at Marla's Memory Lane.
Well, wait. So they were there as solo artists, but you were part of the backup
House band.
for the venue.
House band. And it was a jam night. It was a Blue Monday.
Cool.
And we would do a set, then people would just come in and start sitting in and playing songs. And
Wow. Very
I
cool.
was in the backup band.
I have to say, what I've always loved about your records, especially the first, I'm not Rainmaker, but the first two from, you know, 94 onwards, first two or three, is that you kept that clear connection to the Delta blues, but without copying anyone in particular. And while you were also expanding like the scope of the genre, when you played the blues, to me seemed refreshed and often unpredictable in your hands. And I thought, you know, this is to some extent loose from the bounds of the three chord tradition and some of the cliches that are, let's be honest, a bit inherent in the genre sometimes. It was just that fresh. It was like, it hit me upside the head. It really did.
Well, you know, I can credit that to a couple of things. Is like, you know, having this interview, like, you know, it's kind of jogging my memory about all the things I did. Between 77 and 80, no, let's say 77, for about 2.5 years, I was at Irving Almo at A&M was publishing, A&M Records Publishing Company, making demos for the publishing company.
That's right.
And every week we're making demos of other people's songs. So I had to go and figure out, you know, the charts. I had to figure out who to call to sing, and to basically co-produce these sessions, you know. And And at the same time, I was studying over at a Guitar Institute of Technology, which became MI, Music Institute in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Working with jazz guys. And so I learned, I was always studying. I went to LACC, back to school for a year, and I got in the choir, and I took piano lessons, and I had lots of vocal coaching. And my vocal coach would make me sing Italian songs and make me sing standards.
Why
And,
Italian songs?
huh?
Why Italian songs?
Because of the vowels, and how the technique gets you how to sing in English. So you're singing that sometimes so you can focus on make your instrument work a different way.
Uh-huh.
And so, if I wasn't doing something, I would find something to do. Like I take my money from my flower shop job and go get some vocal lessons, once a week,
Yeah.
And guitar lessons because I wasn't much of a guitar player, but I acquired a lot of knowledge at GIT, studying harmony and studying like having to pick apart classical music at LACC. Miss Modlish, she was this middle-aged, Caucasian woman who was she taught the course music analyzation or something. And so she was big on Bach. So we had to listen to Bach and analyze Bach and sight sing. So when I started playing the blues and stuff like that, I started seeing like the correlation between these classical things, even though I had learned very little in the jazz genres about the modes and the Aeolian, Mixolydian, and harmonic minor, melodic minor, natural minor, and harmony, and what this stuff was. All of a sudden now, and after like that studying the blues, and then when I went to Delta, the acoustic blues, now I got this real mix of information that not many people had,
Interesting.
You know what I mean? So, I don't know. It all played in. So when I got signed to Sony and I made the Keb Mo record, the first one, I was 41 years old, but I think I had studied enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I had played the clubs. I had got enough formal education, enough street, enough being broke, enough, I had enough of everything.
Yeah, that was actually one of my questions. Like when you were 41, you made that record that I guess really changed your life, right? That flipped it all around.
Right.
Were you surprised by all the critical reception and the commercial success of that album, or was it more like, hell yeah, I'm overdue. I paid my dues. I've earned this.
I was shocked.
Were you?
I was expecting it to flop like the other one. And when I got the call, this guy, Michael Kaplan, called me from Sony, said they offered me a record deal. I laughed. I was the one I just laughed. I said, here we go again. Let's go. So I had fun. When I made that record, I had fun and I had learned from the other record, the 1980 record, to speak up and to own my thing. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And when it started getting acclaim, I was so shocked. I wasn't going there. I still don't think I made it. But the thing is, all those records and what I did before, everything from my first playing the trumpet in 5th grade to getting that record deal and everything in between there, gave me all the energy I need, all the information I needed in humility, musical knowledge, attitude, and paying attention to sustain me from 1993 till 2021.
Yeah.
Nice. All those skills. So nothing went I use everything that I do. So And also, too, another big thing that happened is, which is even big as, at least as big as Marla's Memory Lane, was I got a part in a play called The Rabbit's Foot at the LA Theater Center.
Yeah.
And at the LA Theater Center, that was where it really got real, because that's when that allowed me to get into the acoustic blues, you know. And I actually had to like fudge the truth a little bit to get the part, you know. And the first time I really fudged. So I said, yeah, I can do it. And by the time rehearsal started, I had been down to McCabe's getting lessons and got the Robert Johnson box set and had my stuff out, listening to all this stuff, acoustic guitar back out and getting going, and rehearsed for a month for this play and getting this stuff. And I was off and running with Delta Blues. And then I got another opportunity. I got another opportunity after that where I was understudying at the Mark Taper Forum with a play that was being directed by George C. Wolfe, you know. And I never had to go on, but I had to learn the whole play, and I got to practice every day backstage for 2 months, playing Delta Blues and listening to Take Six, you know. And so so that all that stuff put together, and then by the time I got the call from Sony, I guess I was ready. I had honed my songwriting skills enough, you know, from the back in the A&M days of being a songwriter there and a co-producer of things, and I had enough, you know, to get me there.
You had a lot of ups and downs in sort of the first 40 years, right? Or first part of your career, you know, from when you were 17 to 41 or something. That was all like a lot of good stuff, some bad stuff too. You know, my question, I guess, is the blues is often about hardship and suffering and heartache. But in your hands, even a song like with the title like "The Worst Is Yet to Come," it sounds so upbeat and effervescent and kind of happy. You must be the happiest blues guy I know. How did that happen? How do you capture that?
Well, there's another part of me that really, I've been reading self-help books since 1973 too. And then I started with psycho-cybernetics.
Oh, self-help books? Is that what
you're saying?
Okay.
Yeah. Metaphysics, you know, consciousness, wealth consciousness, and how the mind works in terms of positive thought, you know.
Yeah.
And then I really got into it in the 90s. I mean, I was reading Deepak Chopra and Gary Zukav and Don Miguel Ruiz and all these great light workers, you know. And they were, I would read these books over, and they all were kind of the same, but I kept reading them over and over and over again to undo the negative thinking that was in the world and surrounding me every day, you know.
Yeah.
And I stood with it. My father my father was a very religious man, and I wasn't, but I was Buddhist for a long time too. And then there's that. 15 years of Buddhism. And my father taught me this one verse, but it's a very common verse. He says, "This is your verse. If you just do this, you'll be fine. Seek ye first the kingdom, and all else will be added. Seek the righteousness. Seek the, high road." And so because of that, and because of my self-education in metaphysics and consciousness, I believe I've warded off any excuse for failure or anything where I would feel like someone's against me. Because I know where my bread's buttered. It's buttered up there. So people, whatever they think of me, and and here's the thing, people might think you're less than or you're like, so I know that even if I'm the stupidest guy on the planet, that anything that might think of me has nothing to do with what I can do in my life. Absolutely nothing.
Mm.
So when you give people your power away, like I don't ever, like Marvelous to me, the song Marvelous to me, you know, means for me, there's a cloudy day, no sunshine, it's cold, you know, something gray. Oh, I've seen much better and I've had some ups and downs along the way. But when I look back, I just laugh and all my worries just melt into the sea. My vision is clear in the aftermath and the future looks marvelous to me. So
That sums it up.
that's it. You know, I look at everything going, that's all that's going on, all the noise out there. Well, we want our rights and all, la, 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 la. And then just go, well, I'm just.
So when you say, I know where my bread is buttered and you point up, does that mean you believe in a higher power?
I don't know. I don't even know what to call it. You could call it a higher power. You could call it God, the ether. I believe in the power of, there's something in the universe that's connected to me and connected to you and connected to everyone.
Yeah.
That has a power. That has it's a directive that you're giving your life and you're getting it back as well. And I just feel like, and it's not like something I believe, it's an observation. It seems to me that when I'm having my most positive thoughts and my best things, the best things are happening to me. And it has nothing to do with what anybody thinks of me or doesn't think of me. If something is mine, if I need something, you can't keep it from me. If something is mine,
yeah,
you can't take it away from me. And if it's not mine, I can't keep it. I wouldn't be able to keep my hands on it.
Right.
But it'll keep coming. It'll just keep coming to you. Like music kept coming to me. Music was mine to experience. So even when it was always taken away, it would keep returning. It would keep coming.
Yeah.
It keep coming. And then at no time did I think I was supposed. I didn't even know what I was supposed to be the first 35 years of my life. I was playing music, but I wasn't going like I'm gonna do. I was going like I'm gonna do this till I can't do it anymore because it's fun, and I like it.
Yeah.
And not to make it like that. Like, yeah, I wouldn't have made it. No, I did want to make it, and then 35 came and went, and I just kept going.
Yeah.
And then one day, somewhere around 38, I said, okay, I guess this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I made that direct declaration, and I hit a point of surrender about who I was, who I am in that moment. And the whole world just opened up like a, big old, it opened up. You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
It just opened up, and I never needed anything else after that. And that's why I got this song called The Door. That song like, I've been down for so long. Everything for so long. I've, found, sometimes when I have a guitar. Yeah. Well, that song goes like, something like this. I was down for so long. Everything I had was gone. Oh, and I found fault in everyone but me. I was there by myself. Couldn't find no help from anyone else. But then I thought I called the hotline, there was nobody there. Then I heard somebody calling my name. Said ain't no need to be ashamed. That's when I found out. I found out that the door was always open. Everything I needed in life is sitting right under my nose. If I get distracted by thinking people are trying to hold something back from me, then I'm giving away I'm thinking that, then I'm making it true.
Yeah.
You know.
I understand.
So, you know.
When you look back on those recordings you did, the first couple of albums, 3 albums, like, you know, after the Rainmaker album, we're
Yeah.
that. Does it still seem to you that the blues is malleable enough today to be shaped into something that sounds newish the way that you did then? Because now those albums were 25 years ago, but
all the time, yeah, anything, yes. I mean, just you like Lark and Poe?
yeah.
They're fantastic. I love what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, and Marcus King,
True.
and Kingfish, you know, and Gary Clark Jr.
Yeah.
They're coming along and they're doing it, you know. It's cool, you know. And I like the era of B.B. King and the Crusaders. You know, those records he did with the Crusaders, you know, I think Thrill Is Gone was one of those records, maybe. But it's like, I like to live the song love I sing about in my song. To Will Jennings writing all those songs like that, you know. And that era of BB. I've heard it all along, you know. When you hear the Bobby Womack, listen to Johnny Taylor, you know, the R&B and the Sam Cooke, and you listen to Otis Rush.
Yeah.
And you hear these guys, you know, the really good ones, you know what I mean? And you hear Robin Ford's Talk to Your Daughter album when you listen to that album, you know? And you see what he did. That was the big inspiration. When I heard Robin Ford's Talk to Your Daughter album, I said, oh, yeah, there we go.
Nice.
He did something with the blues. And he also, he just does Ellington's, like, you know,
Yeah.
I ain't got nothing but the blues.
Because it sometimes seems to me that as a genre, like I'm kind of wondering if the blues is still going to be around in any viable form in 20 or 30 years from now. You know, because I look at some of the audiences that when I go to a blues concert, and they're guys like me, you know, like they're 50, 60 plus, whatever, and I don't see a whole lot of young people there for the most part. And Marcus King, of course, bucks that trend. But what do you think? Is there what?
Well, they're always coming. That's a fear of society. That there won't be anybody around. Just a minute. Just when you think that it's not going to be there anymore, here comes John Tavius Willis and Kingfish. You know, and there's more. They're always coming out. It's just that there's fewer of them, but there's a spirit of it. It always reaches out and grabs somebody. I got grabbed by it. You know, Gary Clark Jr. got grabbed by it. What's the guy? The Fabulous Negrito. You know, and Taj Mahal. Taj Mahal is the king of the ones that got grabbed by it, the generation. Because, you know, when he was coming up, when he came along, they didn't think that the blues would last anymore. You know, and he kept it going for practically single-handedly. You know,
Yeah.
You know, and innovated it, and he innovated it at the same time.
Yeah.
So I think
innovation is still possible in the blues today, right? We can still.
It's the feeling. Blues is, people think it's look at it as like 3 chords, you know, and just like, you know, a pattern, but it's a feeling, you know, and it's more evident to me when you listen to the Delta guys, when you listen to the Man's Lips, when you listen to, you know, Robert Johnson, and you listen to Reverend Gary Davis, you know, and you listen to the old guys that just, after working all day, played the guitar. We listen to Elizabeth Cotton and those people. And it's a feeling. It's that feeling in there that makes it like that, you know?
Yeah.
Let's see. Like the way Robin Ford does I Ain't Got Nothing But the Blues, you know? It's a feeling. Like when, you know, Bobby Womack, Johnny Taylor sings like, you know, Last $2. You know, it's like, it's a thing, man. And it comes out, and it comes to church when you hear Son House doing Death Letter, you know, when you hear like Howlin' Wolf, you know, how many more, yeah. But let you know, it's like and that's the thing. It's not the chords. It's not the thing. It's that feeling of like that moan. There's a moan that came out of slavery, that came out of the cotton fields, that came out the ships coming from Africa. There's a moan that was in America of desperation and hopelessness that turned into hopefulness. You know, that is the blues and the gospel and stuff. And it's that sound, that guttural moan. When you do that sound, you don't even have to say words. You know, you just go,
Exactly.
People know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You know, that's what it is.
All right. I want to read you a quote from an old music review that I kind of wonder if this is fair to you. So they said at some point, it must have been about the fourth or fifth studio album, and they said authenticity was not a concept that troubled Keb Mo. He was more concerned with offering a nice, smooth, bluesy pop that was perfect for the House of Blues, not for seedy Roadhouse. I wonder if that's
That's all right. I'll take that.
You will?
Yeah, I'll take that. But you know what? That's their observation.
Uh-huh.
No. So, okay. Fine. I mean, I could give a flying fuck about what they say. Because I know what the real deal is.
Yeah, I know you do.
So I can do whatever I want as long as I know what the real deal is.
Yeah.
Just because I know what the real deal is, I mean I have to do the real deal all the time.
So, but if you push the blues a little bit, as you clearly have, you've brought other influences to it. I guess you open yourself up to that kind of criticism, where some of these people go, "Ooh, that's not the pure blues."
Let me guess. That was a white guy.
I have no idea.
It probably was white.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Some critic dude that don't know shit about nothing. You know, just knows how to critique stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and then and no disrespect to them, but it's like that's people just making noise to make a little money. You know, yeah. I don't listen to them. If I listened to all those people, I'd bore myself to tears trying to please those people.
Yeah.
You know, and then.
What do you listen to these days? I'm not talking about music per se, but what do you listen on? Like what stereo equipment do you have that transports you to where you want to go? Is stereo important to you at all?
In my studio and in my car.
Not at home?
No, once you listen to an old scratchy record, you don't need a big stereo. You know, once you can understand it, you know, without all that. You know, so that's just, yeah. Critics like crack me up. I'm glad you brought up critics. And then that's funny. The one you like talked about. I live for bad reviews. I love the bad reviews. I said, not bad. Bring it on. I love it. What they say.
In fairness, that was from, like I said, it was from allmusic.com, and I went through their reviews yesterday and other sources as well. But almost every review in the end on All Music was positive about you. They weren't slagging you off. It was just more of an observation. I'm not sure it was a fair observation, but.
I like that. I like the guy that speaks to the mind like that. I like him that says it like one day when I moved to Nashville, they asked me to do a 4th of July celebration. You know, to come play. Yeah. And I said, sure. And then they offered me a nice little, you know, I got paid for it. It's like, okay, yes, it's great. In Nashville. And but said, would you do an interview for the paper? Yeah. You know? And they said, the person asked me, well, what does the 4th of July mean to you? You know? I said, it don't mean nothing to me. It's just a day off to get some barbecue. I didn't get my independence on that day. And they put in the paper, Keb Mo doesn't mean, the 4th of July means nothing to him. And they said, like, no, what don't you? I said, that's what I said. You know? Because it doesn't. It doesn't. You know? 4th of July? Well, why should I celebrate the 4th of July? You know? when people are celebrating their independence, while like, during that time, my people were still locked up in the, picking cotton, getting their asses whooped.
Yeah.
So I have I love America. I mean, like, don't get me wrong. It's the best place to be for me, but I'm going to tell it like it is. I'm not going to mince words.
Yeah.
And they printed it and they tried to kind of like, they thought I'd be upset. No, I like it. Speak your mind. I know what they're doing. They're leading with something that's going to be sensational. Like they all do, journalists do. So,
go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just like, it's a fun, this life of a musician or life as a person on the planet, dealing with stuff and dealing with other people. It's fun to me. It's fun. And I just love it. All of it.
I got to drag you back to something we were discussing just 2 minutes ago or 5 minutes ago when you said, listen to scratchy records. It doesn't really matter if you have a fantastic stereo. I work for a magazine called Stereophile, so we have to discuss this a little bit. What do you listen on? Like, what do you have for speakers?
Oh, my studio monitors. I have Adams monitors
in the studio.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And on the when I listen to my ears, they recently broke. They're like a pair of Bose, those Bose like lockout. I have to get another pair, but I think the Adams, the Apple's ones, the new Apple headphones are pretty nice. I can't use the in-ears because I have really small ears. They're like the ones with the, the Apple things.
Yeah.
But what I like more than anything. I mean, the Adams, I like the Adams because they hear all the detail in the, when you're EQing things, you're trying to get your record to sound good. All that stuff that the mastering guy hears and takes out, I hear it in here. So by the time it goes to mastering, I can get it pretty close. And the mastering guy can do their magic like that. But I love the detail of the Adams. I had Genelec before, but they were kind of like not so. I kind of grew out of them, And but I'm really happy with the Adams.
What's the model number on them?
I'll tell you. Hang on. I'll take you with me.
Sure.
Let's see. What we got here? Can I flip this around? No, maybe not. Here's my studio. I'm in here, and this is the Adams. I'll tell you the model number is S. Hold on, let me get my S3XH.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. And I got the stand, these really cool heavy stands to keep them off the floor,
Uh-huh.
And my subs down there. And I got these Avantones. They hear another level of a kind of like a crud,
Right.
So and it was Pro Tools.
Like the Yamaha NS10s, right? Those were like famously bad speakers, but all studios had them because most people would listen on pretty bad speakers. So you want to listen through one of those or two of those.
I never could listen on those Yamaha NS10s. They were bad, but you can remember back when they had to put the tissue paper over the
tweeter.
The tweeters, yeah.
Yeah. So what do you listen to upstairs?
Right now we're remodeling up there. So there's like a little, I really like something that I can't find these days. Is a good set of 2 speakers with no sub. I don't like the subs. I like just 2 speakers and the bottoms in those 2 speakers.
Uh-huh.
That 3-hole, 3-way, 5-way, I really like that. But I listen to, like stereo wise, I don't really have a good like. I got you know what I mean. I got my studio, and I want to hear something in detail. I go in there and listen to it.
Yeah. What do you
In
use for?
but my car is my best place to listen because I have an Acura RLX, and
Yeah.
in my Acura is the Elliott Shiner system, which is fantastic.
Nice.
It never lies. That's why I got the Acura because that's the Elliott Shiner system.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
there.
Quickly off the record. Usually it's the interviewee that says off the record, but I want to tell you something off the record. I talked to a guy called Jonathan Skull more than 25 years ago. He worked for Stereophile, and the way that I do now, but a long time ago. He said to me, he never listens to music in his car, and I said, why not? And he goes, because it always sounds like shit, and there's road noise, and it's just not the right acoustic environment. And I was blown away because I love listening to music in the car.
Oh yeah.
It's such a good, I mean, I know it's not audiophile quality most of the time, but it's so enjoyable, even through an old cassette player. It's like you got the road moving, the landscape moving outside you, and the music can just do a number on you under those circumstances, right?
Yeah, I love it. I mean, the car is great. I mean, the rumble and that's part of it, like the music and the rumble, like when you make music, you want it to ride good in the car.
Yeah.
Too, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's certain tempos and certain like things and like motion, like a Hammond organ is great for the car. When you hear goodness sustain on the Hammond organ,
Yeah.
that's
That's right.
it's just like and it's like yeah.
Green Onion never sounds better than in the car.
Is that? Yeah.
It never sounds better than in the car. So I'm kind of blown away that you don't have like a beautiful, amazing stereo upstairs because here's the thing, because your records sound so unbelievably good to us. I mean, these are audiophile quality recordings by any standard.
Well, I learned how to mix when I was over there at A&M.
Yeah.
Those guys, those old engineers that were over there.
Yeah.
Before automation. Yeah. I learned how to mix with those guys.
Uh-huh.
Sitting on a board. They used to let me come in on this, like the masters when they're doing like real like mixes and help out with the mixes and like, okay, you got you got the rolls over there, you got the cowbell, you got this, you're gonna hit that mute right there, there's this, and all the movements and stuff. Now you can automate it all, but
yeah,
I learned with those guys, panning and EQ and how you use EQ and I started I learned most of what I know about recording on a Tascam 4-track cassette.
Yeah.
Because you got to fill up 4 tracks, and then you bounce 4 tracks over to another cassette. You have to have a certain kind of cassette, high-res cassette, and then the noise level had to be just right, and you put it back, and then you had to compensate. When you mid your mix, you had to figure out how much room you had to scoop out to make the vocals sit on top of the thing once it was done.
Yeah.
Because all you had was bass and treble. It's like, I love it. It's like math. Learn how to record a set of drums with one mic,
Yeah.
Mic placement. And I read the whole manual. I got the 4-track cassette, Tascam. I went through the manual. I read the manual. And the first thing is mic placement. It was like a mini thing on how to record. Don't hit any cue first. First, put the mic in the right spot. Yeah. That's what I did.
Yeah.
And I make these recordings with live drums. And I had a set of drums, a Fender Rhodes, a bass, and a guitar, and one crappy mic.
Yeah.
It's fun figuring out how to get that stuff going.
I know what you're talking about with your reference to the scratchy records, but scratchy blues records from the old time performers. But starting in the 50s, there have been so many amazing, like audiophile quality, amazing recordings. Like one of my absolute favorites of all time is Muddy Waters, Folk Singer. That was how that's recorded. That's like when you listen to it on a good stereo, that's truly like being there.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard anything better in the last 50 years than those kinds of recordings.
Yeah. No, they're great recordings.
So I hear you when you say that you were working with, the A&M engineers, and those were guys who really knew what they were doing. So you must.
Yeah, I got to work. So I got to work with those guys that really knew what they were doing. You know what I mean? And how to make records. And in the '70s, they made some of the best records ever. It was right before the drum machine really caught on.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like they when Supertramp, come in and record their records.
Yeah.
And the drum sounds that they would get and all that stuff. I was around. I was like walking side by side when all that was going on, and the conversations in the hallway to how they were recording things, how they're like, oh, I did this and I put it over there and mic this and I put a mic over there and and
Yeah.
so I learned how to do that and then I learned how to um, voice things because of LA City College. I learned how to voice instruments so they didn't bump into each other, and you'd have to use a lot of extra EQ that you didn't need.
Yeah.
So every instrument had its place. If every instrument has its place, then you don't have to go EQing it later. The mix starts the moment you hit record. A lot of people now they just record. I just want to get everything down. We'll mix it later. No, get it now.
Yeah.
Get it now.
Yeah.
Record it right the first time because you're gonna be chasing your tail for who knows how long trying to get that thing right.
Yeah.
And then but if you get it right and you get everything going and you hand off to your mastering guy or a woman, well, something that have to be fixed, but can be embellished on rather than fixed,
Right. When you were a staff writer at A&M, right? Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you wrote songs for others, or you were helping them make their demos of their songs?
I did both.
You did
I
both.
wrote songs and I help people make demos.
So would I know any of the songs that you wrote from that period?
No, because I failed miserably.
You did. You weren't a good songwriter back then?
Yeah, but I was weird. I mean, you should some songs I wrote. They didn't fit. They didn't fit anywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for anybody else. So, but I had, I had enough publishing money to get me through and get my rent paid and stuff.
All right.
But I wrote one song for Ren Woods called "Take Me to Heaven," and there's a song that a guy named Howard Johnson recorded called "All We Have Is Love," and just things. But I was chasing the trend. I was trying to get a Whitney Houston cover. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was trying to get those pop covers. And if you're not in there with the people, that are really making that go.
Yeah.
And you're not, and it was very trendy. Pop music is very trendy. Like, if you're listening to the radio, you're listening to stuff that's a year and a half old.
It's true.
So that's why the blues was so appealing to me because it was already old.
And there was no chasing trends.
I didn't want to chase a trend.
I didn't even know that was a thing still in the 70s. I mean, I know of the Tin Pan Alley songwriters and the Brill Building, but in the 70s, record companies still hired writers to be on staff?
Yeah.
That was still a normal thing back then? It wasn't an unusual job that you had?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Amazing.
They still do it in Nashville.
Oh, I guess they do. That's right. Why did you move to Nashville? To be closer to a lot of the people that you'd like to work with?
No. I made a deal with my wife when we got married. We moved out of LA in 2 years. And then when she called me on it, I thought she wouldn't call me on it, but she called me on it. So I moved. And you know what? It worked out.
It did. Nice. I'm happy for you, man. So you've got five Grammys, is that right?
Yes.
What does that mean to win a Grammy? Does it do anything for your ego, for your inspiration, a lot for your sales, I assume? More attention?
I think it's a calling card. It's a little bit of, you know, let's see, it's a bragging rights for other people. That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what means most to me is like if I get a Grammy and some young person is watching me get a Grammy, they might like what I do, you know, and they see me get a Grammy and they go like, wow, that's what I want to do someday.
Yeah.
You know?
I, 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 when I look back on the history of songwriting, 20th century, like people like Rodgers and Hart, Rodgers and Hammerstein, Lennon and McCartney, to some extent Jagger and Richard, like for them there was clearly a advantage to working with somebody else, and I think part of that is that they can quality check each other, right? So somebody comes up with a song and the other guy goes, I don't think so, man. That's really not so good. Not as good as your other effort. And then they move on to something else. If you write solo, especially if you're already an established artist, there's not going to be many people who tell you, I wouldn't do that if I were you. So do you make mistakes by writing songs or recording songs that you look back on in retrospect and you go, I wish I hadn't done that. Not that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
Which one makes you cringe?
One, just like you know, when I say under my skin, just like you know, that felt like a little bit of low hanging fruit.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
I said, when I say under my skin, I'm just like you.
Yeah.
You know, that felt like some low hanging fruit. Every time I just sing, I wish I had fought for a little bit better line.
It gets it across.
You know?
I never had an issue with that song. I think it's a beautiful song still, but
it is. I think it is, but that's just when I go like, oh, I was thinking like I should have. And on a song called "Shave Your Legs," I wish I had went further in the chorus. It just ends in a "Shave Your Legs" for me. I should have went on and did a little chorus behind it.
Yeah. What's the best cover you've ever done?
What?
The best cover you've ever done. Like when you really thought, I'm reinterpreting a song, and it's working on all levels.
My favorite one cover right off the bat. What be the times they are changing?
I would agree with you. And the odd thing is that I never really loved the Dylan version. I acknowledge its importance, and then I heard you sing it with the piano chords very slowly, and you know, like a couple of little chord variations going on, and it got new life. It took on new life for me. So I agree with you there. That was a really good one.
Yeah, that lyric is just spotless. You know? Yeah, I think that one. But it's fun doing covers. The one I think that I had fun doing is the other one was What's Happening, Brother? The cover, Marvin Gaye cover off the What's Going On album. Yeah. I really like that one. And yeah. Because I love that song.
The Marvin Gaye song?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I love that song, What's Happening, Brother, you know? Yeah.
And how about if we reverse it? What is the best song of yours that you wrote that somebody else has covered where you went, that's just perfect, better than I could have done it? Anything?
I don't think I've had enough covers to, that really, I don't think I've been covered that much. Here and there sometimes, you know. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
I was surprised to see. I don't really follow country music very much, so I just discovered a few days ago that Toby Keith did "Old Me Better."
Yeah.
I like your version much better, but that must have been good to hear that. You know, somebody like that is good for the ego, it's good for the wallet, I assume, right?
Well, it's good. It's good. It's a great honor to be covered. I mean, it's amazing to be covered. Um, but I guess I still the kind of voice of my cover that still frustrates me because like um, the producer in me, the record maker guy, kind of like when I hear a cover, that somebody did. Um, First of all, it takes a lot of effort to do something really right. To get it really right.
Yeah.
And there's a saying like in Nashville they go in South they go like, and do you want it you can have it fast, cheap, or good, but you can't have all three. Pick two.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So I can always hear when like I don't know. It's like covers. I tend to listen to like I mean I like spectacular records. One of my favorite records is like a well recorded, beautiful song, well recorded record is Paul Simon's "Something So Right."
Yeah.
I mean, good Lord, just such a gorgeous record. Everything about it, the way they're going. Some people never say the words I love you. And the whole and the little bells and whistles and all the little chimey things, and it's just the way that vocal is delivered and the sincerity of the lyrics is just like such a masterpiece.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really beautiful. So I know a lot of times in making records, people are in a hurry sometimes. There's money, money's on the line. We got to finish it up. We're out of time, we're out of money. We got to get this record company wants it.
Are you saying that in the context of other people covering your songs? Like you hear it on, on their cover?
Making records in general.
I see.
I would never criticize somebody for covering one of my songs. No, that'd be sacrilegious. That's like, no, thank you.
But they're taking the creation of yours and doing something with it that they think is beautiful and that you may also think is beautiful, or you may think they murdered it, or they not in a good way, like they didn't live up to the potential of the song when they recorded it. Does that ever happen?
I don't know. I'm not crazy about Baby Shark, but sure. I don't argue with success. One thing I don't do is like when something's successful,
Yeah.
I go like, okay, that did something. What happened there?
Yeah.
I love the Quincy Jones Peter Frampton story.
What's that?
Peter Quincy Jones was walking across the A&M lot with a Peter Frampton record under his arm. And one of his constituents stopped him and said, "Quincy, what you doing listening to that Peter Frampton record for?" And Quincy said, "He just sold 14 million records. You better go get you a copy too."
Can't argue with success. I hear you, man.
I don't argue with so successful. There's something in there you need to pay attention to.
So I think you're going back to playing a lot of clubs again, or venues again, right? You're going back to you're doing a tour in 2021 and 2022.
Yeah, we've got some dates. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Are you looking forward to it?
Well,
because you told me before that you were kind of burnt out on performing, but presumably now that you've had like a year off or something, you're ready for it again.
Leaving home. I was burnt out on leaving home, and I was burnt out on the set list. That I had to play because it had gotten down to like where people were requesting songs, that they wanted to hear, and there was like a key. It started getting down to like you gotta play the songs what they want to hear. But then after about a year of no concerts, when you go play, people didn't do it. They just whatever you play, they just like, well, yeah.
Yeah.
All the pick about, play this song was gone,
Yeah.
you know.
I've always wondered when you're a performer, you pretty much do the same thing night after night after night. Uh, and I get that it's a different venue and a different vibe maybe with the audience, but don't you prefer the creative energy that bubbles up and that you draw on when you actually write and record songs? Or is it really gratifying to play for a live audience still?
Oh, they're both good. They're just different. They're both all right. Um, I mean, they're both playing music. They're both, but I was burned out. When it was about burnout, I just, when you love doing something, you kind of don't know you're burnt out, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, if you're a crackhead, you start enjoying it so much, you don't know you're a crackhead. You just know you're just enjoying being high all the time. I can always imagine, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So somebody goes like, dude, you're a crackhead. You need help. So, I mean, since I just realized I was burnt out, but I wasn't in pain and burnout, and I wasn't, but I could use a break, and the break was good.
Excellent. I miss your steel guitar playing. It seems to me like you did that a lot more earlier in your career than you have been in the last 5 or 7 years. Is that fair to say, or am I just?
Yeah, yeah,
How come?
yeah. This one right here, this one, I don't know. I played yeah, steel. I pulled it out on the shows like Love, let's see something. I guess I'm pushing the envelope a little bit.
Because you're good. You're
Yeah.
such a good steel guitar player. It's like if you have that kind of talent, it's almost it's a shame to not draw upon it, right?
Yeah, you're right. I'm looking at this record. Hmm. Not one steel. Dang on, look at that. Well, let's see how it goes.
Maybe on the next one. All
Yeah,
right.
maybe I'll do all steel.
What's your
Yeah.
studio process? Like when you are ready to make an album, I guess it's different these days because now you can record it at home. So there's no longer,
Mm.
you no longer have like 3 weeks or whatever booked in somebody else's studio where you have to come up with the goods.
Yeah, I'll do it in my leisure. I'll book get the tracking done maybe a week,
Yeah.
have people come by, we'll get all the basic tracks. And, sometimes I'll just do one at a time. I'll record a vocal. Like I'll get the tempo right where I want it. And then I'll put down a vocal and a click track.
Yeah.
Then I'll start having people,
Yeah.
sometimes I'll just start bass. That way nobody can fluff their part, you know. You can't hide behind something. It's like, it's all gotta be like, mm, kind of right. And the song has to like, whatever part, like I like to like be able to like just pull up the vocal and the bass or any instrument and it flows around. Yeah. Remember that group? Remember that duo, the Pair Extraordinaire?
I'm
You ever
sorry.
hear them? It was just
Dropped out for a moment. Go back. Go
yeah.
back.
Do you remember a duo called the Pair Extraordinaire?
I do
They
not.
were a bass player, upright bass, and a singer.
I do not.
Yeah, just
Should I check
upright,
that out?
this Pair Extraordinaire. But anyway, I like the part to be like when I'm playing solo, I'm playing the guitar. Like I'm studio got tore up like the other day. I put a lot of stuff upstairs. I did a broadcast upstairs. I took a lot of things upstairs, but yeah, playing solo is like really fun because breaking the songs down to just a guitar and a vocal, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
it's really rewarding. and challenging. And, but making a record, yeah, this record was kind of like, where did I even start at? I forgot where I started. I just looked up one day, it was done.
So that means it wasn't a very painful process, right? It'll happen very naturally and pleasantly.
It was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm about to, I'm going to just take a couple more minutes of your time. We're almost done here. But I wanted to ask you about that song Talk, in which you imagine yourself to have a friendly conversation with the President of the United States. And you say to him, you know, if we can just talk to each other, we can patch up our differences. And then you extrapolate from that. Like we can all get along if we just learn to patch up our differences. When I heard that song again a couple of days ago, I thought that's from such a different era. That was from before the November elections of last year, from way before January 6th of this year and the attempt at the insurrection, right? Like it seems like now we're in a place in this country where we cannot talk to each other anymore. That we're just not on the same wavelength like ever anymore in the two different camps. Do you feel that way, or is that just something I'm feeling because I'm reading the news and I shouldn't be?
Funny you notice that song. I'm glad. Thanks for noticing that song because it's I don't know that many people really noticed it, you know. But like it was that post 9/11. It's like written like probably like the same week of 9/11. Because you know with Kevin So, the same guy that wrote Crush on You, we wrote this song together called Talk, you know, and we were sitting there and because he got stuck and he's from Boston, he got stuck in L.A. You know, because all the planes were grounded, you know.
Right. And
so he's kind of he's kind of like, not angry, but he was like, protest. We got to write a protest about this kind of. And I kind of read the writing on the wall. I said, oh, we're going to war with somebody. You know? But it felt so bad because I was just looking about like, what a beautiful opportunity to go to the world and make a peaceful statement of understanding and forgiveness and not go send the cavalry out. And way more people died, which is exactly what happened, you know.
Of course it did.
We sent soldiers to Afghanistan and even more people died. You know, not to mention the Afghans and the Iraqis that died, you know. So I had a line like, there goes the Navy, you know, going off to war. Do they really know what they're fighting or what they're fighting for? I pictured all these young men are going to go out there. So I was talking to Bush, H.W. Bush. I'm talking to W, you know.
Yeah.
You know, hello, Mr. President, you know. How's your day? You know, I was with my family just the other day. You know, he's just like, you know, just, hey, start a conversation. And then you go, what do we do about our angry neighbors? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why are they so angry? You know what I mean? It's like, what do we, you know? Like, why are they angry? And it's, why is somebody so angry that they're sending planes to our buildings? That doesn't just happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no, they hate, somebody said they did the thing. And that's why we got to where we are now with January 6th. They hate our way of life. They hate us.
They hate us for freedoms. That's literally what Bush said. Yeah, at the time. Yeah.
Yeah. They don't. Yeah. I mean, for me to fly a plane through your house, you'd have to really piss me off.
Yeah.
There's evidence. I mean, it's a crime scene. Look at that. Come on, wake up, America.
Yeah.
Wake up, but we don't. We're so busy trying to be the lead of the world. Even going back to the G20 today, you know, Biden had to come. I was watching it on CNN and I could just feel the chilly reception after Trump just pulled out and, you know, that, you know, these people don't trust us anymore, you know?
Yeah.
They don't trust us. We can't be trusted because you never know when you're going to like, you know, elect a Trump, you know?
But that was kind of my point in bringing that song up. It's like in 2004, that still made sense. And I thank you for writing it. But now it really seems like we're kind of in a post-talk society. There's just half of the country, they can't seem to talk to us. We can't seem to talk to them. it seems just awful. It seems more awful than it's ever. I've lived in this country for 30 years now. I'm not originally from here, but it seems worse than it's ever been in my lifetime.
It is. It's terrible.
Oh.
It's awful. I don't know what to do. It's really gone. Maybe I'll put talk back in the set. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, people don't hear it. It's like, you know, people don't hear it. You know.
I admire you for writing.
Thank you. Go ahead.
And I think it speaks of a great kindness in you that I also appreciate and admire. And at the same time, if you'll forgive me for saying this, there's a kind of, I don't know, naivete around it. Well, you know, we can just talk and work it out. Or we have environmental problems, but no nukes. Or we have a lot of issues. We should just put a woman in charge. Like, it seems a little too straightforward to really be true. Do you get what I'm saying?
Well, it's not true. They're just songs at the end of the day. You know.
Uh-huh.
They're just little ideas to put out there, along with all the other great ideas. Not saying my ideas are great, but other ideas that are helping it along. It's not just up to me.
Yeah.
To turn the whole world. It's up to me just to sprinkle a little fairy dust, a little sugar on it, and help the idea. You know?
Yeah. Fair enough.
You know.
I appreciate that.
You know, so I mean, like, you know, like I caught shit for this one line, which I love getting into. You know, one of my songs said, "Don't wait for Jesus. He ain't coming back no more." Come on, you know.
I love that line.
Oh man, people don't like to hear that line. That's my favorite line I've ever written.
That's the other. I read up on Kristen Chenoweth a little bit, and you know, she got it from both sides. When she began talking about her spiritual beliefs, she was attacked by progressives because she had appeared on the 700 Club or some other like super evangelical program. But then when she said, but I'm a Christian, but I certainly support marriage equality. Then there were people from over on the evangelical side of Christianity who thought that she was kind of the devil. The Dixie Chicks with whom you worked went through kind of the same thing, right? They were excoriated for some of the things they said, even though those were not far outside of the mainstream, I thought. Have you gotten angry responses when you talk about spirituality or religion or politics? Has that happened?
Well, not much, but probably the worst one I ever got was I try to kind of keep it like light, you know, and just kind of hint at it, you know, just a little bit. But when I changed the Johnny Cash lyric on Folsom Prison Blues, so I said they said I shot him right in Mandarino just to watch him die. Yeah, you know, I said. They said I shot a man in Reno, but that was just a lie.
I see. That's right. Yeah, I remember that now. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the you can't change Johnny Cash's lyrics. I don't go at anybody hard enough to really stay mad at me. You know. Yeah. You know, a little line like an Oklahoma song, I made. Alluded to the Black Wall Street massacre, you know, and the bridge over on Greenwood, Archer and Pine, you know, so I just kind of say something, then back off because, you know, like just pissing people off and, I like to bring people together. Mainly I want people to have fun when they come out. I want them to feel a little better. Feel a little more understanding, you know, just be a little more kinder maybe when they leave my show. So, you know.
Yeah. But that's exactly what I'm talking about. So for instance, there's this local restaurant here where this idiot who owns it put a sign up saying if you voted for Biden, don't come and eat here, or you will not be treated with as much kindness as I will treat the better half of our society. And I'm thinking, why the fuck would you do that? Because now you're chasing half of your potential customers away. And it's kind of like that maybe in some ways when you write an explicitly political song, as you have, and you've certainly covered a bunch of them too on the Peace Backed by Popular Demand album.
Yeah.
You always run the risk of alienating half or a good size of your audience. Do you not worry about that?
Nope.
Good for you, man.
I mean, I don't worry about that. If half of my audience leaves for the lightweight shit that I say, that's not on me. I mean, I haven't said anything strong enough to like make people say, I ain't going to this show anymore. If it's that easy to offend, then that problem was there before I even got there.
So wait a second. I want to make sure I heard that right. You refer to your own political work as lightweight shit?
Yeah, it's lightweight. I don't really go deep.
Yeah.
I just allude, kind of like just, I don't go deep, I mean, I talk about, I mean, I don't feel like I am, but that's not, when I say lightweight shit, compared to what we really, like the song Louder,
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, that's some heavyweight shit there,
Yeah.
But it's written in a way where I don't want it to be heavy. I want people just like this, hey, it's a news break. It's going to get louder, watch out, people are calling me now.
Yeah.
You there? Yeah, I mean, I it's like, what's heavy? What's heavyweight? I mean, like, I think what is heavyweight stuff? I mean, like the insurrection, God, wow.
I never thought
that one there.
That just blew me away. Never thought I'd see that in this country.
I'm still waiting on some kind of court case to be brought against somebody.
Against who?
Anybody that was there.
Oh yeah.
Is anybody going to go to jail?
They're being arrested. Like the FBI has been on their case. Like 200, 300 of them have already been tried. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then they get these little bitty sentences, like 2 weeks or a month.
Yeah.
Or holy crap!
Yeah.
Bring down our democracy. Is that all you're getting? Really? If you're a black guy, and you deal a couple of dime baggies, and you go to jail for 30 years, or it's crazy, craziness.
Yeah. So I mean, like, it's just like, just watching you. They're telling you how it is. That's why I go about my merry way. I'm not waiting on anybody to bless me with equality.
Good for you. That line, don't wait on Jesus to come back. Where did that come from? Why did you write that? And how did that go over?
Oh, it went over like a lead balloon.
You must have expected that though, right?
Even some members of, I was shocked. I remember my family confronted me. They were like, what do you mean Jesus is not coming back?
Your family did?
Yeah. I go, well, how long has it been? It's been about 2,000 years already. And if he came back, we'd even have known. It's like, was he going to come back as Jesus? Last time he said, he got hung on the cross, so I wouldn't be too hurried to come back. It's ridiculous. It's like this metaphor, these things like, don't wait for Jesus. Jesus, and it's a metaphor. So, and assume that with my words, have the power to make Jesus not come back. It's like, you think I'm that powerful?
Well, you grew up in a very Christian household, right? And gospel music all around you. So.
Oh yeah, I got a Christian family.
But you were not Christian yourself?
Nope.
You were Buddhist for a while, I think you told me, right? And now are you one of the nuns? Like.
No, I'm just kind of like, I believe. When I say believe, I feel that there is things working and there's validity in what Christians and everybody's saying, people,
Yeah.
but they know seems to be able to agree on how it, you know, what that is. But it's like, everybody stands around a car. How is this car moving down the street, without a horse in front of it? Well, you can have all kind of opinions, but basically it's a gasoline powered engine and the cylinders are firing and the way it's working is the way it works.
Yeah.
No matter what I say, I can make all kind of theories, but the way it works is the way it works. So 10 people gather around and so I don't know. I think there's, it still works the same way. So however it works or whatever it is, that's what it is. And I'm not smart enough to figure it out. But I know it's something there.
All right. I'm not smart enough to figure it out either. So that makes two of us. And Matt, I really want to thank you for all the time you've given me and all the insights you've given me. It's been terrific. I love talking with you. I love the new album. I hope it to be very successful. And you're going on tour. I think you're at some point you're going to be in maybe not quite my neck of the woods because I live in Maine, like 5 freaking hours from Boston. But I think you're coming to Portsmouth, New Hampshire at some point. Is that right? Do you recall?
Yeah.
That?
I got our web designer lives up in Maine.
Oh, cool.
In the woods somewhere. It's out on the moon.
Yeah. We all live in the woods out here, man. There's nothing here. I'm kidding a little bit, but it's a big ass state, and there's only 1.2 million people here, so we can spread out. But I think I think I'll come to the Portsmouth show, and I'd love to come and shake your hand then.
That'd be really great. Thank you so much. It was a great conversation.
Thank you. I
really enjoyed. You brought up a lot. You brought up a lot of stuff that I treasured, a lot of stuff that I forgot about and put together.
I'm so sorry about that.
I feel like that was my autobiography right there.
With 2 hours of this interview, I'm well on my way. I could at least write the first couple of chapters at this point. So thank you again for informing me. Hey, if I have questions, like maybe even there were a couple of names I didn't quite get, people you were referring to that I have heard of, but maybe I couldn't easily figure it out. How can I get back in touch with you or verify anything that we've just discussed?
Just call up. Let's see. Kelly, are you still here? Hold on.
Yeah, sure thing.
Kelly here? Yeah, that's what I stayed in here.
I didn't want to risk anything.
Well, thank you.
What do you want me to work on?
Let's wrap up that. Put the mixes on the thing upstairs.
Okay.
All right, here we go. I got you right here.
Okay.
I have my laptop down here because just in case such a thing. All right, let's see. How do I send this out? Have you got an email?
You want my email address?
Yeah.
It's the best place to reach me is my last name, which is Van Bakel, V as in Victor, A-N as in Nancy, B as in boy, A-K-E-L as in London, @gmail.com. Van Bakel @gmail.com.
Is there an E after the K? What comes after K?
Oh, E-L. So it's VANBAKEL @gmail.
Van Bakel? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. It's on the right.
Are you emailing me?
Yeah.
All right.
So you have my email and you'll have Kelly's information, our assistant. She makes all things happen.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Well, I'll wait for
So there we the subject is Kelly Robinson, and I'll call it Keb Mo assistant. All right, there we go. Here we go. Let me know you got that. Where you from?
Netherlands.
Netherlands. I love the Netherlands.
Which explains a little bit of the Peter Maffei thing, because I grew up very close to the German border, and this was back in the 60s, 70s when there were no proper Dutch TV stations. I mean, there were, but they only would broadcast 3 or 4 hours a day. So we would often tune in to German TV. I learned all my German from TV, learned my English from TV as well, but learned my German from TV. And watched Peter Maffei perform on German TV.
Yeah. He's a cool dude. Yeah. All right. I'm going to get back to work, and thank you so much for your time, and I appreciate you.
Thank you so much for your time, Keb. I really appreciate it. By the way, I haven't received that email, but maybe in a couple minutes. I'll keep
You look at my sent folder. Hang on. Oh, it didn't go. Look at the outbox. Hang on. VANBAKEL@gmail.com.
Yes, V as in Victor, AN, B as in boy, AKEL@gmail.com.
Okay. Look at that. It should have went. Look at that. Outbox. All right.